Do you believe that true love cannot be achieved through sheer willpower and philosophy? Many people assume that love is a mysterious mix of fate, emotions, and random luck. But what if that's only part of the story? What if I told you that you could actually attract the person you desire using the grounded, unshakable principles of Stoicism? Yes, this ancient philosophy doesn't just teach you how to control your emotions. It shows you how to build deep, lasting relationships by first mastering the relationship you have with yourself. Imagine living a life where you're no longer controlled by anxiety, insecurity, or self-doubt. Where you move through the world knowing your worth, expressing yourself with clarity and confidence, without ever needing tricks, games, or pretense. To do this, you must live by one of the most important Stoic principles. We cannot control others. We can only control ourselves. And when you master yourself, something incredible happens. You become attractive not because you're trying, but because your inner peace, strength, and authenticity speak louder than anything else. In today's video, we'll uncover 10 Stoic secrets to truly win the person you desire. These aren't surface-level dating hacks or quick fixes. They're deep, life-changing insights that will help you grow from within, so you naturally attract and maintain genuine, healthy relationships. Get ready to open both your mind and heart, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand how to attract the love you've always wanted. You'll understand how to become the version of yourself who effortlessly receives it. Before we begin, here's a small challenge for you. Watch this video until the very end. Don't skip a single part, because each lesson will reshape not only how you see love, but how you see yourself. You'll become stronger, more confident, and far more prepared for the meaningful connection you deserve. Leave a comment below saying, "I deserve to have my specific person," if you're ready to embrace the powerful wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Let's begin this inspiring journey together. Number 1. Cultivate inner peace. You might be wondering, what does inner peace have to do with attracting someone into your life? Isn't love about action, attraction, and timing? But here's the truth. Everything starts from within. If your inner world is chaotic, no amount of outward effort will bring the love you desire. Stoicism teaches us that the foundation of any meaningful connection begins with mastering your inner self. When you cultivate inner peace, you're no longer reacting to life. You're responding with clarity, intention, and emotional stability. Imagine going through your day, facing stress, rejection, uncertainty, but remaining calm and grounded. You're not rattled by other people's opinions. You're not chasing validation or approval. Instead, you've built a sanctuary within yourself, and that quiet strength becomes a magnet for others. Why? Because in a noisy, anxious world, peace is rare, and people are instinctively drawn to it. They sense it, they feel safer around it, and they trust it. You don't need to force someone to notice you. When you have peace within, you stand out without even trying. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That strength is what creates attraction, not just physical appeal, but emotional gravity. You walk differently. You speak with intention. You don't need to impress because you're already enough, and others feel it. If you're constantly anxious about how someone sees you, whether they'll respond to your message, or whether you're good enough for them, it's not because you lack love. It's because your soul is looking for safety. And that safety isn't found in someone else. It's built within you. That's why Stoicism tells us to focus on what we can control. You cannot control how someone feels about you, but you can control how deeply rooted you are in your own self-worth. That's where true peace and true attraction begin. So how do you begin cultivating that peace? Start by practicing emotional clarity. When something upsets you, instead of reacting, pause. Ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, then breathe. Let it go. Don't carry what doesn't belong to you. Reflect on your values, your intentions, and your desires. Journal. Meditate. Take time alone not to escape, but to realign. The more you know yourself, the less approval you seek from others. This kind of self-possession is rare and incredibly magnetic. People want to be around someone who isn't easily thrown off balance, who listens deeply, and who knows who they are. And it all starts with creating silence within your own mind. But let's go even deeper. Inner peace also means loving yourself enough to stop fighting for people who are not aligned with your path. It means saying no to drama, letting go of toxic patterns, and refusing to compromise your peace for temporary attention. The love you truly desire cannot enter your life while your energy is tied up in noise. If you keep attracting the wrong people, it's not because love isn't for you, it's because your soul is calling you to rise higher, to clean your space emotionally and spiritually. As you do that, the right person will walk into that space, not because you begged for them, but because they feel aligned with your vibration. Ask yourself this: do you feel calm when you think of love, or do you feel anxious? Do you feel whole already, or are you waiting for someone to complete you? If your peace depends on someone else, you'll always feel unstable. But if your peace is your own creation, you'll never feel powerless again. That's the transformation Stoicism offers. You don't chase love, you become love, and love comes to you. Inner peace is not a final destination, it's a daily practice. Some days will be easier than others, but what matters is your consistency. Each moment you choose stillness over chaos, clarity over confusion, you grow stronger. And with each step you become more centered, more grounded, and more ready to receive the love that is already making its way to you. Be patient with yourself. You are becoming. And the more peace you build within, the more powerfully you'll attract someone who reflects that peace back to you. That's how you begin, not by changing the world, but by mastering your inner one. Number 2, focus on self-improvement. If you've ever looked at someone and thought, I wish they would notice me, the real question isn't how to get their attention. It's how to become the version of yourself who naturally stands out. That's where Stoicism shines. At its core, Stoicism is not about impressing others. It's about elevating yourself from within. Self-improvement is one of its most vital principles, and when you embrace it fully, you begin to change the way you show up in the world. Instead of wondering whether you're good enough, you start building yourself into someone even you admire. And when you live that way, the right people can't help but be drawn to you, not because you're performing, but because you're growing. Have you ever asked yourself, what do I need to become the kind of person who naturally attracts love? That question alone opens the door to powerful transformation. Because the truth is, the more aligned you become with your own potential, the more magnetic your presence becomes to others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will but dig." That's the essence of Stoic self-improvement. It's not about changing yourself to meet someone else's expectations. It's about unearthing what's already powerful within you, your values, your strength, your compassion, and sharpening them like a blade. Think of it this way. When you improve your mindset, your communication, your health, and your emotional intelligence, you don't just elevate your life, you expand your capacity to connect with others on a deeper level. Real attraction isn't built on surface-level charm, it's built on substance. And substance is cultivated through effort, discipline, and vision. So ask yourself, what do I need to work on? Maybe it's your confidence. Maybe it's how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. Maybe it's how you handle disappointment or how you manage your time. Self-improvement doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming conscious. Conscious of your strengths. Conscious of your blind spots. And willing to take small, consistent steps every day to become better than you were yesterday. This kind of dedication to growth is rare and incredibly attractive. When someone sees that you're committed to your evolution, it makes them feel inspired, safe, and challenged in the best way. But self-improvement also means developing what Stoicism calls virtues, qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When you embody these values, you become the kind of person who doesn't just want love, you're ready for it. You become dependable, emotionally stable, and honest. You become someone who can handle disagreements without drama, express love without fear, and build connection without losing your identity. Think about it. Aren't those the very qualities you want in someone else? So why not start with yourself? Improving yourself also means developing what many overlook, soft skills. The way you listen, the way you respond instead of react, the way you hold space for others without judgment. These are not small things. They are powerful tools of connection. Have you ever met someone who made you feel seen, heard, and safe just by being present with you? That's the result of real inner work. And when you practice those same skills, you'll naturally create deeper bonds with those around you, especially the person you desire. Self-improvement makes you more intuitive, more empathetic, and more emotionally aware. It builds the kind of maturity that doesn't just attract love, but sustains it. Remember what Marcus Aurelius also said. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, stop wondering what it takes to be loved and become love itself. You don't have to chase approval, you just have to raise your standards for how you show up. When you consistently aim to become a better version of yourself, mind, body, and spirit, you emit an energy that others feel on a soul level. You stop needing people to complete you because you already feel whole. And ironically, that's when the right person appears, not because you were trying to attract them, but because your growth lit a path for them to find you. Number 3. Live in the present moment. We often hear the phrase, live in the moment, but how many of us truly do? Most people live in constant motion between the regrets of the past and the fears of the future. They replay what went wrong, worry about what might go wrong next, and in doing so they miss the one place where life actually happens, the present. And if you're trying to attract a specific person into your life, this is more important than you think. Because when your mind is clouded by fear, overthinking, or longing for what hasn't yet arrived, you disconnect from your own power. Stoicism teaches us that only the present is real, and in this very moment, right here, right now, you have everything you need to connect, to grow, and to radiate the kind of energy that draws people in. Imagine being fully present in every interaction, not distracted, not rehearsing what to say next, but truly listening, observing, and connecting. That presence is magnetic. It makes people feel valued, it makes them feel safe, and it makes you unforgettable. When you're truly present, you aren't worrying whether they'll text back or replaying what you said last night. You're grounded in the now. And from that place, you can respond instead of react. You can enjoy each moment with the person in front of you without attaching your happiness to a future that hasn't happened yet. Epictetus once said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. And that includes the reactions, feelings, or timelines of other people." The moment you realize that you don't need to know the future to enjoy the now is the moment your energy shifts. You go from anxious and needy to calm and magnetic, because people are drawn to presence. They feel it. They can sense when you're really with them. And in a world full of distractions, that kind of attention is priceless. Ask yourself, when was the last time you were fully present with someone you cared about? No phone, no wandering thoughts, no expectations, just you, listening with your heart and your mind. That kind of connection is what builds real intimacy, because presence shows respect. It shows care, and it tells the other person, you matter. When you live in the moment, you're no longer trapped in what was or obsessed with what might be. You open your eyes to what is. And in that space, real love can grow. Because love isn't something that just happens one day in the future. It's something we experience in the smallest, quietest moments of now. Stoicism trains us to return to the present by reminding us that everything else is out of our control. We can't change the past. We can't predict the future. But we can choose how we show up right now. And in this very moment, we can choose to be kind, to be calm, to be open. That is how you begin to attract someone, not through effort, but through alignment. Through being so rooted in the now that your presence becomes a gift to everyone you encounter. When Marcus Aurelius said, "Confine yourself to the present," he wasn't suggesting we ignore the future. He was reminding us that the best preparation for tomorrow is mastering today. Living in the present also reduces your stress, your need for control, and your fear of loss. Because when you're not grasping for outcomes, you're able to enjoy the beauty of each interaction without needing to own it or define it. You let love breathe. You stop trying to force connections and start allowing them to unfold naturally. And that natural flow, grounded in mindfulness, is what people are irresistibly drawn to. So the next time you're with someone you care about, or even thinking of someone you desire, bring yourself back to the now. Take a deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground and ask, how can I be fully here? Because when you are, everything changes. You listen better. You speak from the heart. And you create a moment that stays with them long after it ends. Living in the present moment isn't just a practice. It's a superpower. It turns ordinary conversations into unforgettable memories. It transforms fleeting moments into real connection. And most importantly, it brings you back to your own heart. That's where real love begins, not in what you hope will happen tomorrow, but in how deeply you show up today. Number 4, communicate with compassion. In the realm of love, words can build bridges or burn them to the ground, How you speak, how you listen, and how you hold space for others can make the difference between fleeting interest and deep emotional connection. Stoicism teaches that communication, at its highest level, is not just about getting your point across. It's about embodying wisdom, humility, and compassion in your interactions. If you want to attract a specific person into your life, begin by mastering how you make them feel through your presence and your words. Have you ever had a conversation with someone who made you feel truly heard? Not just listened to, but understood, seen, for who you are without judgment or interruption? That feeling is powerful. It lingers long after the conversation ends. It builds trust. And it creates a bond that physical attraction alone cannot sustain. Stoicism calls us to rise above ego, to soften our judgments, and to speak with kindness even when it's difficult. When Marcus Aurelius asked, "What fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" he was reminding us to lead with empathy, not arrogance. Compassion in communication means asking yourself not, "What do I want to say?" but "How do I want the other person to feel when they hear me?" Real connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability flourishes where there is compassion. It means being present enough to really listen, not just to the words, but to the emotions behind them. When someone shares something with you, do you rush to respond, or do you take a moment to truly receive it? Compassionate communication means pausing your own thoughts long enough to understand someone else's experience. It's the art of listening not to reply, but to connect. And in that connection, something beautiful happens. You become the kind of person others want to open up to. You become a safe space. And in a world full of noise and shallow interactions, that kind of presence is rare and deeply attractive. But communicating with compassion doesn't mean you become passive or avoid truth. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches us to speak truth, but with gentleness. It means you express yourself clearly and honestly, but always with respect for the other person's dignity. If there's conflict, you don't lash out. You don't win arguments just to feel superior. Instead, you seek to understand, to clarify, and to bring peace, because the goal is not to dominate, but to connect. Seneca reminded us, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." So often, the tension we feel in conversations isn't about the words themselves. It's about unspoken fears, assumptions, and old wounds. Compassion means slowing down enough to see past the surface, to recognize that behind every harsh word is often a deeper pain. Ask yourself, when was the last time you really gave someone your full, undivided attention? No distractions, no phone, just your presence. Now imagine doing that for the person you desire. Imagine listening so deeply that they feel like they're the only person in the world when they're with you. That level of connection is not just rare, it's unforgettable. You don't have to be perfect with your words. You just have to be sincere. Because sincerity combined with compassion is magnetic. It draws people in not because you're charming, but because you're real. And realness is what the soul longs for. To communicate with compassion is to approach every conversation with humility, presence, and care. It means remembering that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you cannot see. That the person you desire also has fears, insecurities, and dreams they've never voiced. And when you become the person who creates space for those truths to be shared without fear, you become irreplaceable in their life. Compassion in communication builds more than connection. It builds emotional intimacy. And that's the foundation of a relationship that lasts. So the next time you speak with someone you care about, slow down, breathe, listen deeply, ask thoughtful questions, be gentle with their heart. And when you speak, let your words be a reflection of the calm, confident, compassionate person you're becoming through your Stoic journey. Because at the end of the day, it's not how much you say, it's how deeply you make them feel understood that creates real love. Number 5, maintain personal integrity. In a world where image is often valued over substance, maintaining personal integrity is one of the most powerful ways to stand out, and it's one of the most attractive qualities you can cultivate. Stoic philosophy reminds us that integrity isn't just a moral ideal, it's the foundation of genuine connection. If you're trying to attract a specific person into your life, the question isn't just, how do I get them to notice me? It's, am I someone they can trust? Because at the heart of any real, lasting relationship is trust. And trust is built not through grand gestures or clever words, but through consistent action, quiet strength, and unwavering authenticity. Seneca once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's integrity. It means living in alignment with your values, even when no one is watching, even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you something. When you hold yourself to that standard, you don't just become a better person, you become a person others feel safe around. And that safety is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are consistent in who they are. Have you ever met someone who just felt solid? Someone who didn't shift their opinions to impress others, who didn't compromise their values to fit in, who showed up as themselves no matter the room they were in? That's integrity in action. And whether we realize it or not, we crave that kind of presence in our relationships. Because deep down, we all want to know that the person we care about isn't wearing a mask. We want to know they mean what they say, that they'll show up when it matters, that their yes means yes, and their no means no. When you live that way, people can feel it, and they respect it, even if they can't always articulate why. Integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. It means acknowledging your mistakes and learning from them instead of covering them up. It means staying true to your word, even when it's hard. And perhaps most importantly, it means honoring your own boundaries and self-worth. If you constantly break your own values just to keep someone in your life, you're not operating from love. You're operating from fear. And fear never builds real connection. Integrity, on the other hand, creates a powerful energy. It tells the world, this is who I am. I won't pretend to be something I'm not, and I won't sacrifice my peace for temporary approval. That kind of inner strength is rare, and it's incredibly attractive. Ask yourself, what values are non-negotiable for me? Do I have the courage to live by them even when it's uncomfortable? Can I resist temptation when no one is watching? Am I the kind of person I would want to date? These questions might feel confronting, but they're also clarifying. Because when you start living with deeper integrity, everything in your life begins to shift. You attract better relationships. You make clearer decisions. You feel more at peace. And yes, you naturally draw in the kind of person who aligns with your truth. Not because you manipulated your way into their heart, but because your soul spoke a language they understood. Maintaining integrity also means being clear about what you will and won't accept in a relationship. It means honoring your standards without apology. It's easy to bend your values when you're afraid of losing someone, but in doing so, you lose a piece of yourself. True connection isn't built by compromising your worth. It's built by standing in it. And when you do, you inspire others to rise to that same level. You don't chase respect, you command it simply by being who you are. And in that space of honesty, dignity, and strength, love has room to grow. Honest love, not built on illusion, but on truth. Remember, superficial attraction might get someone's attention for a moment, but personal integrity is what holds their heart over time. It's the quiet confidence that says, you can count on me. I won't betray myself, and I won't betray you. When you live like that, you don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You live it. You embody it. And the right person will recognize it, not just with words, but with action. They'll see that you're not just another person, they'll see that you are rare. And in today's world, that rarity is what makes you unforgettable. Number 6, exercise gratitude. What if I told you that one of the most attractive qualities you can develop, one that quietly draws people into your life, is gratitude? Not the kind of gratitude you post about once a year, but a deep daily mindset of appreciation for what you already have. In a world that constantly tells us we're missing something, that we're not enough until we achieve more, have more, or are loved by someone else, Stoicism reminds us of a powerful truth. Happiness doesn't come from getting what we want. It comes from appreciating what we already possess. And here's where it becomes life-changing. When you practice real gratitude, you stop approaching relationships from a place of lack. You're no longer trying to get someone to love you. You're already overflowing with love, peace, and contentment. That energy is irresistible, because people are drawn to those who radiate joy from within. Not desperation, not neediness, but true presence and peace, and gratitude is the root of that peace. Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." That quote holds more weight than we often realize, because when you learn to celebrate your life as it is, not as you wish it to be, you shift your entire vibration. You become calmer, more grounded, and more joyful, And those qualities don't just feel good to you, they affect everyone around you. Imagine being with someone who doesn't constantly complain, who doesn't seek validation or reassurance, who isn't always needing more, but who instead genuinely enjoys every moment. That person stands out. That person becomes magnetic. Gratitude not only enhances your mood, it changes your aura. And from that energy, love flows naturally. Now ask yourself, how do you usually approach your desire for love? Do you come from a place of frustration, feeling like something is missing? Or do you come from a place of abundance, knowing that your life is already filled with meaning and value? That difference is everything, because when you focus on what you lack, you emit scarcity, and scarcity repels. But when you live in a state of thankfulness, even in the face of challenges, you emit a quiet confidence that tells the world, I am enough. And that's the kind of energy the right person wants to be around. Gratitude also protects your peace. It reminds you that even when things aren't perfect, there's still so much beauty in your life. It helps you stop chasing the next moment and start appreciating the one you're in. But let's be honest, gratitude isn't always easy. Especially when you're hurting, waiting, or wondering why love hasn't arrived yet. That's exactly why it's so powerful. Choosing to be thankful when life feels uncertain is the highest form of emotional strength. It's easy to be grateful when everything's going your way. It's when you can still be grateful through disappointment, rejection, or loneliness that you become unshakable. Because then your joy is no longer dependent on someone else. You've taken back control. You've become emotionally self-sufficient. And that's when true love finds you, when you no longer need it to fill a void, but are ready to share your wholeness. Start small. Be thankful for the breath in your lungs, for the quiet moments, for the lessons you've learned through heartbreak, for the strength you've gained just by surviving. Write down 3 things every morning that make you feel thankful, even if they're tiny. Over time, your mindset shifts, and so does your reality. When your heart is full, you see the world differently. You begin to notice kindness, opportunity, beauty, and yes, even love more easily. People are drawn to that warmth. They want to be around it, because we all want to be around someone who reminds us of the goodness in life. So instead of waiting for love to make you grateful, let gratitude prepare you for love. Let it expand your heart so wide that when someone special enters your life, they feel immediately welcomed, not into chaos or longing, but into peace. That kind of energy is not only rare, it's irresistible. Gratitude doesn't mean settling or giving up on your desires. It means holding them in one hand while cherishing what you already have in the other. And when you do that, you unlock one of the most beautiful Stoic secrets of all, that love isn't something we find, it's something we become. Number 7. Practice humility. In a world that often rewards ego, loud opinions, and self-promotion, humility has quietly become one of the rarest and most attractive qualities you can cultivate. We live in a time where people feel the pressure to prove their worth constantly. Social media encourages us to showcase our achievements, exaggerate our strengths, and hide our flaws. But Stoicism teaches us a radically different path. The power of quiet strength. The power of knowing who you are without needing to announce it. Humility isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the understanding that no matter how much we know, achieve, or desire, there's always room to grow, to listen, and to learn. If you're trying to attract someone into your life, ask yourself this. Would you rather impress them with a list of accomplishments, or connect with them through authenticity? True love doesn't flourish in the presence of arrogance. It grows in the gentle soil of sincerity, openness, and mutual respect. And humility is what makes that possible. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in the world during his time, still wrote about humility in his private reflections. He said, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." Think about that. To receive without pride means to accept success without becoming inflated by it. To let go without attachment means not clinging to what was or what could have been, but staying grounded in the present moment. This mindset helps you stay balanced, no matter what happens in your relationships. Whether someone praises you or rejects you, whether things go perfectly or fall apart, humility keeps you anchored. It tells you, you are enough, but you're not above anyone else. And that kind of presence creates a deep sense of safety for those around you. People are drawn to individuals who are self-aware but not self-absorbed, those who listen as much as they speak, those who can celebrate their strengths without needing constant validation. Ask yourself, do you lead with understanding or with ego? Do you allow space for others to be right? Can you admit when you're wrong? These are not just personality traits. They're powerful tools for emotional intimacy. When you practice humility, you make room for someone else's perspective. You listen with curiosity instead of defensiveness. You're able to apologize sincerely, not just to move past a conflict, but because you genuinely care about how you made someone feel. And that kind of accountability? It's rare and unforgettable. Imagine being in a relationship where both people feel seen, heard, and respected, where no one is trying to dominate or control the other, where ego doesn't take center stage, compassion does. That's what humility creates. It's not about shrinking yourself, it's about rising above the need to prove yourself. But humility also helps you attract love by making you more teachable. When you're humble, you're always evolving. You don't assume you know it all, you're open to growth, and that attitude makes you incredibly engaging. Because people are naturally drawn to those who are curious, present, and grounded, humility allows you to admit your flaws without shame, and to work on them without fear. It tells the world, I am a work in progress, and I'm okay with that. And ironically, that very mindset is what makes others feel most comfortable with you. Because they don't feel judged. They don't feel like they have to compete. They can just be themselves, and that's the space where love begins. Humility also helps you navigate conflict in a healthy way. Instead of needing to win arguments, you seek understanding. Instead of clinging to your pride, you prioritize connection. And when you make mistakes, as we all do, you take responsibility instead of deflecting blame. This creates a level of trust that few relationships ever reach. Because love without humility is fragile. But love rooted in mutual respect, in the willingness to grow together, becomes nearly unbreakable. So if you want to attract the person you desire, don't try to outshine them. Don't try to impress them with perfection. Show them your realness. Show them your willingness to grow, your capacity to listen, your ability to hold space without judgment. That's what humility looks like in action, and that's what people remember. So today, take a moment to reflect, not on how great you are, but on how far you've come, and how much further you're willing to go. Recognize your strengths, yes, but stay open to learning, to being corrected, to becoming better. That's true power, and when you walk through life with that kind of quiet confidence, you won't need to chase love. You'll become the kind of person love chases. Number 8. Understand and apply the dichotomy of control. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies one of its most liberating and life-changing principles: the dichotomy of control. It's a simple idea, but when truly understood, it can transform the way you approach life, love, and relationships. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." That distinction may seem obvious, but most of our suffering, and especially our struggles in love, come from confusing the two. We obsess over how others see us, whether they'll respond, whether they'll choose us. We try to control how someone feels, what they'll say, or how a relationship will unfold. But the truth is, you cannot control another person's emotions, actions, or timing, and when you try to, you exhaust yourself and weaken your own energy. What you can control, however, is powerful. Your thoughts, your reactions, your values, your decisions. And when you shift your focus to mastering those things, your life begins to change, and so does your ability to attract the right person. Imagine for a moment how different your energy would be if you weren't constantly trying to manage the uncontrollable. What if instead of wondering, "Do they like me?" you asked, "Am I living in alignment with who I truly want to be?" That shift moves you from anxiety to empowerment, because suddenly you're not waiting for permission to feel confident. You're not attaching your self-worth to someone else's approval. You're no longer giving away your power, you're reclaiming it. And that reclaimed power is magnetic. When someone sees that you're grounded in who you are, that you don't chase or beg or cling, they respect it. They may not even know why, but they feel it. That sense of calm, of emotional independence, creates a powerful gravitational pull. And all of it begins by practicing the dichotomy of control. But understanding this principle doesn't mean giving up on love or surrendering your desires. It means learning to pursue them with wisdom and strength. It means showing up fully, open, loving, present, without needing to manipulate outcomes. It means investing in yourself, nurturing your growth, and allowing others the freedom to come to you as they are. You can express your interest in someone without needing them to respond a certain way. You can love deeply without losing yourself. because you know that your peace isn't in their hands, it's in yours. This mindset not only protects your heart, it elevates your spirit. It frees you to live with integrity and joy, regardless of what anyone else does. Let's say you're trying to impress someone. You think, if I say the right thing, dress the right way, act the right way, maybe they'll want me. That's control, disguised as love. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Improve yourself because it aligns with your values, not because you're trying to earn someone's affection. When you grow for your own sake, not to meet someone else's standards, the attraction that follows is real, lasting, and mutual. And when you're rejected, because yes, even the best of us face rejection, you don't crumble. You understand that their response is outside your control. You gave your best. You stayed true to yourself, and that's enough. You move forward with grace, not bitterness. That's emotional maturity, and emotional maturity is incredibly attractive. This principle also helps you avoid toxic dynamics. When you know what you can and cannot control, you stop trying to fix people, change them, or rescue them. You let people be who they are, and you choose how you want to respond. That clarity keeps you out of drama and puts you in charge of your emotional well-being. It also sends a clear message to the world. I am responsible for me. And when someone meets you in that energy, when they too take ownership of themselves, that's when real, healthy connection becomes possible. So next time you feel anxious about your relationship, ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, let it go. Redirect your energy to what is in your hands, your mindset, your actions, your attitude. That's how you stay in your power. That's how you stop chasing and start attracting. Because you're no longer operating from fear, you're operating from freedom. And in that freedom, love flows more naturally, more honestly, and with far less effort. Remember, the goal is not to control life or people. It's to master yourself so fully that no matter what happens around you, you remain steady, peaceful, and deeply aligned with your purpose. That's the kind of presence that doesn't just attract love, it transforms it. Number 9. Appreciate the contrast. It's natural to want things to be easy, especially when it comes to love. We imagine meeting someone perfectly aligned with our interests, our temperament, and our way of seeing the world. And yet time and time again we find ourselves drawn to people who are different from us, people who challenge us, people whose perspectives and personalities don't always match our own. Stoicism teaches us that this contrast is not a problem to be solved, but a gift to be appreciated. The truth is, it's the differences between people that create depth, growth, and emotional richness in relationships. When we learn to embrace those contrasts rather than resist them, we open ourselves to a love that is far more authentic and enduring. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference." But here's the nuance. He wasn't saying to ignore everything. He was saying to recognize what truly matters. And often it's not about finding someone who mirrors us perfectly. It's about finding someone who complements our growth, even when their presence challenges our assumptions. When you're truly on a stoic path, you start seeing contrast not as conflict, but as opportunity. Think about the people you've loved or admired most deeply. Were they carbon copies of you? Or were they people who introduced you to new ways of thinking, who showed you the beauty in different lifestyles, backgrounds, or worldviews? Attraction is often sparked by similarity, but connection deepens through respectful difference. That tension, when navigated with grace, creates an environment where both people evolve. You begin to grow not in spite of your differences, but because of them. And that growth, that transformation, is the essence of real love. Because love is not about agreement, it's about understanding. It's about staying curious, even when you don't fully understand each other. Ask yourself, have you ever rejected someone too quickly because they didn't fit your mold? Have you ever tried to change someone to make them more like you? If so, you're not alone. We all crave familiarity. It makes us feel safe. But Stoicism teaches us to look beyond our initial discomfort and ask deeper questions. What can I learn from this person? How does their uniqueness challenge me to grow? Can I love them not for how closely they reflect me, but for how bravely they remain true to themselves? That level of appreciation doesn't just improve your relationships, it elevates your soul. It teaches you humility. It softens your edges. It helps you build a love that is grounded in reality, not fantasy. Appreciating contrast also means letting go of the need to control. When you try to shape someone into your ideal, you lose the beauty of who they really are. And eventually, they'll feel it. People can sense when they're not being accepted for their true selves. But when you embrace someone fully, flaws, quirks, and all, you create a space of trust and emotional safety. That's when love becomes something more than desire. It becomes mutual growth, shared expansion, a connection built not on perfection but on presence and acceptance. Let's take it even deeper. Contrast isn't just about personality. It's about timing, lifestyle, values, even emotional rhythms. And yes, sometimes those contrasts will be too great to overcome. But many times, they're invitations. Invitations to expand your view of the world, to practice patience, to communicate more clearly, to soften your judgments. Stoicism calls us to face every challenge with openness, not resistance. And that includes the challenge of understanding someone who is not like you. In fact, one of the fastest ways to deepen your emotional intelligence is to learn to love without trying to make someone easier to love. When you begin to appreciate contrast, you stop needing everything to feel effortless. You stop chasing the fantasy of a perfect relationship, and instead begin cultivating a meaningful one. One where both people are seen, heard, and allowed to be fully themselves. That kind of connection may not always be smooth, but it will be strong, because it's built on truth. And truth, when honored, becomes the bedrock of love. So, the next time you feel friction with someone you care about, pause and reflect. Is this a reason to disconnect or an invitation to grow? Is this conflict or contrast? And if it's contrast, can you meet it with curiosity rather than resistance? Because the moment you do, you'll find that what once felt like a difference may actually be the exact piece of the puzzle your soul was missing. Real love doesn't erase differences. It embraces them, and in doing so it becomes stronger, wiser, and more alive. Number 10. Seek wisdom. In a world obsessed with appearance, status, and instant gratification, one of the most overlooked yet profoundly attractive qualities you can develop is wisdom. Not the kind of wisdom that makes you sound impressive in conversation, but the deep, lived understanding that comes from experience, introspection, and a commitment to personal growth. Stoicism places wisdom at the heart of all virtues, because with wisdom you begin to see life with clarity. You stop reacting impulsively, you stop chasing illusions, and most importantly, you stop seeking love from a place of fear or desperation. Instead, you begin attracting it from a place of fullness, strength, and depth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This truth is at the very core of wisdom. When your mind becomes clear, calm, and focused, your energy shifts. You become more grounded, more present, and far more attractive. Not in the superficial sense, but in the way that makes people want to know your soul. Think of wisdom as the foundation of all the other Stoic virtues you've been practicing: your inner peace, your self-improvement, your humility, your compassion. They all flourish when guided by wisdom. Seeking wisdom means you are committed to learning, not just about the world, but about yourself. It means asking the deeper questions. Who am I becoming? What truly matters? How can I contribute to the world in a meaningful way? And in doing so, you begin to radiate a kind of quiet confidence that no surface-level charm can match. Wisdom is magnetic because it reveals a person who has depth, who can think, reflect, and evolve. And in a time when so many people are just reacting, scrolling, and repeating patterns, they'll be drawn to your stillness, your insight, and your sense of purpose. But seeking wisdom is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being teachable. It's about staying curious, humble, and open. The wisest people are not the ones who speak the most, but those who listen deeply, reflect honestly, and grow consistently. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone's words felt like medicine for the soul? That's the power of wisdom. It heals, it uplifts. It makes people feel safe, not just because of what's said, but because of the intention and clarity behind it. If you want to attract someone into your life who values depth and sincerity, then commit to becoming someone who seeks truth relentlessly, not to win debates, but to build bridges. Imagine your soul as a garden. At first it might seem barren, quiet, unsure, maybe even neglected. But with each book you read, each journal entry you write, each conversation you approach with honesty and openness, you begin planting seeds. Over time, your inner garden begins to bloom, vibrant with understanding, compassion, and insight. And like bees to flowers, people will begin to gravitate toward your energy. Not because you chase them, but because you cultivated something beautiful within yourself. That's the essence of the Stoic approach. Don't chase love. Become someone who makes love feel welcome, safe, and inspired to grow. Epictetus said, "Only the educated are free." But education in the Stoic sense isn't about degrees. It's about liberating yourself from ignorance, from ego, and from fear. It's about learning to live with courage, dignity, and perspective. When you embrace this path, you stop needing others to complete you. Instead, you invite others to join you. And that invitation, rooted in wisdom, not need, is what makes your presence irresistible. You become someone others can turn to, someone who brings calm in chaos, insight in confusion, and kindness in pain. Wisdom makes you unforgettable not because you try to be, but because you've become someone of value. So if you're serious about attracting someone meaningful into your life, then seek wisdom like your future depends on it, because it does. Read, reflect, ask questions, spend time in silence, learn from your experiences and your mistakes. Let each challenge make you deeper, not harder. Let every failure teach you how to love more honestly. Because in the end, the love you attract will mirror the person you've become. And if you've chosen the path of wisdom, that love will be rooted in truth, mutual respect, and shared growth. That's the kind of love that doesn't just feel good, it transforms you. When you begin to live by these Stoic principles, not just read them, but embody them, you'll realize that love is no longer something you have to chase, manipulate, or fear. It becomes a natural expression of who you are. You'll stop looking for someone to complete you and start becoming someone who is already whole, and in that wholeness you'll attract the kind of connection that's rooted in truth, not illusion. Remember, Stoicism isn't a trick to get someone, it's a path to become someone, someone peaceful, someone wise, someone magnetic in the most genuine way. The person you desire will feel that shift, and more importantly, you'll feel it too. Thank you for being part of this journey. Your presence here matters. If this video brought value to your life, please like, share, and subscribe to Deep Dive Stoic, because we're building a community of thinkers, seekers, and souls who believe in mastering themselves to create deeper, more meaningful lives. And if you're ready to keep growing, don't stop now. Watch one of the suggested videos on your screen. We made it with you in mind. From all of us here at Deep Dive Stoic, thank you. Stay grounded, stay present, and never stop evolving.